There is a kind of woman that heaven watches closely. She doesn't need a spotlight to know she's valuable. She doesn't need affirmation to validate her identity. She's not driven by trends. She's driven by truth. This woman is so blessed, so divinely positioned, that angels are assigned to her every step, not because of who she's trying to be, but because of who she already is in the eyes of God. She's a woman of purpose. She wakes up each day not just to survive, but to fulfill an assignment. She doesn't waste time in places that compromise her destiny. She doesn't allow culture to define her role. She walks in the original intent of her creation. You can't intimidate her with opinions because she's already anchored in revelation. When you know your purpose, you don't chase positions. You walk in power. She is favored by heaven in ways that confuse people. She doesn't have to manipulate, scheme, or hustle to be blessed. What others fight to earn, she receives by grace. Why? Because favor follows order. Her life is in divine alignment, and that makes her irresistible to divine assistance. Angels don't follow confusion. They follow clarity. And this woman carries clarity from the throne room. She guards her spirit. Not everything gets access to her atmosphere. She's selective, not because she's arrogant, but because she's aware. She knows that her oil is costly. Her peace is sacred. Her heart is not a playground. It's a sanctuary. Her discernment keeps her out of traps that others fall into. She doesn't ask, is this allowed? She asks, is this aligned? And when the storms come, she doesn't fall apart. She doesn't panic. Her peace is not built on circumstance. It's built on covenant. Her calm is warfare. Her stillness is not weakness, it's strategy. While others are loud in chaos, she's anchored in quiet confidence. She knows that if heaven assigned her to the storm, then angels are already in it with her. This woman's words carry weight. She doesn't speak to impress, she speaks to impact. When she opens her mouth, things shift, lives change, atmospheres obey. Because she doesn't just speak her mind, she speaks God's mind. And when you echo heaven, angels are obligated to respond. Her voice doesn't just fill a room, it fills a purpose. She is not out here chasing love. No, she is love. She radiates security, healing, and identity. You don't complete her, you complement her because she's already whole. She's not looking for someone to rescue her. She's already been redeemed. And when you've been healed by the hands of God, you don't settle for hands that hurt. Even in hidden places, she thrives. She doesn't need applause to bloom. She grows in the dark. She matures in silence, and she passes tests no one sees. And that's why angels are near, because the palace doesn't define her. The process does. She is a woman refined by fire, elevated by faith, and backed by heaven. Her wilderness is not a curse, it's an altar. Her pain is not punishment, it's preparation. If you find yourself in this message, know this. You are not ordinary, you are not random, you are not overlooked. You are the kind of woman that makes demons nervous and angels alert. You are a divine strategy in motion. You are a gate to heaven's glory. You are a woman so blessed, so anointed, so purposed that angels follow you. Don't doubt it, don't downplay it, and don't dilute it. Walk in it. You were born for this. You said you walked in divine purpose, not popular opinion. Expand this in 300 words without headings, and don't add ending remarks. ChatGPT said, you walk in divine purpose, not popular opinion. That means you have traded the applause of men for the approval of God. Your life is not dictated by trends, likes, or the fleeting validation of the crowd. You don't follow the noise, you follow the voice. The voice that called you before you were formed in your mother's womb. The voice that assigned you before anyone ever admired you. while others spend their lives adjusting to what people want. You spend your life becoming what God designed. When a woman walks in divine purpose, she doesn't just exist, she executes. She moves with precision, not pressure. She's not in a hurry to impress because she understands that heaven's timing is never rushed. She is guided by vision, not vanity. Her steps are ordered, not suggested. And even when people don't understand her, she stays the course, because purpose doesn't always look like popularity. In fact, purpose will often make you invisible for a season. Not because you have forgotten, but because God is forming something in private that will shake the world in public. You don't allow distractions to derail you because your eyes are fixed on something eternal. You are not tossed by opinions that change with the wind because you are rooted in a mission that came from eternity. That makes you unshakable. People may call you stubborn, but heaven calls you focused. They may call you too intense, but God calls you intentional. While the world chases relevance, you are building legacy. And every step you take in purpose sends a signal to the unseen realm. Angels move, favor aligns, and grace follows you because you are not driven by the temporary. You are anchored in the eternal. You know why you're here, and you're not turning back. You said you attract favor without force. ChatGPT said, you attract favor without force because you are aligned, not anxious. You understand that when you are in the will of God, you don't have to manipulate outcomes or beg for opportunities. You don't strive to be seen because heaven already sees you. There is a grace on your life that speaks even when you are silent. There is an anointing on your name that opens doors you didn't knock on, what others fight to earn. You walk into with peace, not because you're better, but because you're in position. This kind of favor cannot be explained by human logic. It is not the result of hustle, charm, or connections. It is the product of obedience. You've chosen to walk the narrow path. You've chosen discipline over distraction. You've chosen prayer over performance. And because of that, favor locates you. Listen, you don't need to compete because what's yours has already been reserved. You don't need to chase platforms because your purpose will draw the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources to you at the right time. People may wonder why things fall into place for you. They may accuse you of being lucky or privileged, but what they don't see is the cost of your surrender. What they don't know is the price of your hidden life of consecration. You attract favor because you honor God in private and He honors you in public. You're attracted because you're not chasing clout, you're chasing the kingdom, and anything attached to God's kingdom carries His favor. This kind of favor doesn't make noise, it makes impact. It doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself. You are not forcing outcomes, you are flowing in assignment. And where there is divine alignment, there is always supernatural assistance. You said, you protect your spirit with discernment. ChatGPT said, you protect your spirit with discernment because you understand that not everything sent to you is meant for you. You are not just living. You are guarding. You are not just breathing. You are building. And builders must be watchful. You don't allow every voice to speak into your life because you know that words are seeds and not every seed produces life. You are careful with your atmosphere because your spirit is sacred ground. You don't entertain what drains you, distracts you, or disconnects you from the presence of God. Discernment has become your defense. It's not suspicion, it's spiritual clarity. It allows you to recognize what's good versus what's God. It teaches you that just because something looks right doesn't mean it's aligned. You have learned to listen beyond words and to see beyond appearances. You read the fruit, not the flash. You examine the intention, not just the invitation. That's why you can walk away from things others run toward, because your peace is your compass. and your spirit cannot afford confusion. You don't ignore red flags in the name of love, opportunity, or ambition. You know that delayed obedience is still disobedience. And disobedience opens doors to warfare you were never meant to fight. You choose boundaries over busyness. You choose stillness over noise. You choose wisdom over impulse. And when people don't understand your distance, you don't apologize for it because they didn't see the prayers you prayed to get your peace back. Protecting your spirit doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're covered. It means you've learned that access is a privilege, not a right. Your discernment is not a wall to keep people out. It's a filter to keep your soul whole. And when your spirit is whole, heaven can trust you with more. You said, you carry peace that confuses the enemy. ChatGPT said, you carry peace that confuses the enemy because your stability is not rooted in circumstance. It's rooted in covenant. While others fall apart in chaos, you remain grounded. Not because life is easy, but because you've learned where your strength comes from. Your peace is not passive, it's prophetic. It declares that heaven is still in control, even when everything around you is shaking. It is the evidence that you trust a God who sees beyond what you see and knows what you don't yet understand. This kind of peace isn't bought, it's birthed. Birthed through brokenness, through seasons of waiting, through silent battles where you learned that the presence of God is not a luxury, but a necessity. You've been through enough storms to know that panic doesn't change outcomes, but peace gives you power. You no longer react to every threat, every rumor, or every delay, because you've seen what happens when you rest in God's timing. That kind of stillness is dangerous to the enemy because it proves he can move you with fear. You walk into rooms carrying an atmosphere. You don't have to speak loudly. Your spirit speaks. You don't have to defend yourself. Your stillness defends you. You don't wrestle with what's beneath you. You rise above it because you've discovered that true warfare is won not with noise, but with knowings. Knowing who you are, whose you are, and who goes before you. That knowledge breeds a calm the enemy cannot decode. You are not easily shaken, not because you're strong on your own, but because you've surrendered. Peace follows you because you've given up control and embraced trust. And when a woman walks in trust, she becomes a weapon. Not loud, not chaotic, but steady, strategic, unbothered. That peace is not weakness, it's divine authority in disguise. You said you speak life and authority. ChatGPT said, you speak life and authority because your words are not casual, they are consecrated. You understand that your tongue is not just a tool, it is a weapon, an instrument of alignment between heaven and earth. When you speak, things move, not because of volume, but because of vision. Your voice carries weight in the spirit because it flows from a place of intimacy with God. You don't just talk to be heard, you speak to release life, purpose, and power. You've learned that every word you speak is either building something eternal or feeding something temporary. You no longer waste your voice on complaining, gossip, or fear. You've matured beyond empty talk. Now, you speak declarations, not doubt. You speak solutions, not just problems. Your words don't entertain, they transform. You speak into dry bones and expect them to live. You speak to closed doors and expect them to open. You speak over your family, your destiny, your future, and you expect heaven to respond. Why? Because your voice is aligned with your assignment. You spend time in the secret place, and that time has given you authority in the public space. Authority isn't given to the loudest, it's given to the aligned. You are aligned with truth, and that truth gives your words fire. You don't repeat what culture says, you echo what the Spirit says. That's why demons tremble and atmospheres shift when you speak. You don't speak out of emotion, you speak from revelation. You understand that silence can be powerful. But when you open your mouth, something must change. Because you are not just releasing sounds, you are releasing the will of God. Your speech carries life. It activates identity. It tears down lies. And when you speak, you don't just communicate, you create. You said, you don't chase love, you radiate it. ChatGPT said, you don't chase love, you radiate it. Because you've discovered the source within you. You no longer search for validation in the eyes of others because you've been seen by the one who made you. You don't beg to be chosen because you know you were already called. Love is not something you strive for. It's something you've become. It flows from the wholeness you've cultivated in God, not from desperation or deficiency. You don't need someone to complete you. You are already complete in Him. You carry the kind of love that doesn't perform, it transforms. You're not trying to impress to be accepted. You're expressing the beauty of who you already are. Your presence carries warmth, safety, and grace. People are drawn to you, not because you're chasing connection, but because you embody it. You give without fear of losing. You serve without fear of being used. Because your love isn't transactional. It's rooted in truth. It's not based on what others give you in return. It's based on the unshakable love you've received from your Creator. You have nothing to prove, so you love freely. You have nothing to fear, so you love boldly. You're not obsessed with being loved by people because you're already loved by the one who defines love itself. And that love heals, it overflows, it shines. You become a mirror of heaven's heart, reflecting patience, kindness, and compassion, even when it's not returned. You're not impressed by attention that comes and goes. You're anchored in affection that never changes. You don't pursue relationships to fill a void. You build them to extend purpose. And because you carry love from a higher source, you attract what aligns with that source. Love doesn't have to chase. When it's pure, it draws. And you, woman of God, have become the kind of love that doesn't need to find its worth. It radiates it. You said you thrive in the wilderness, not just the palace. ChatGPT said you thrive in the wilderness, not just the palace, because your strength was not shaped in comfort. It was forged in challenge. You've learned how to grow in hidden places, how to flourish without applause, and how to remain faithful when there is no platform, no crowd, and no spotlight. You understand that the palace is not what defines you. The process does. And the wilderness, though dry and quiet, has become sacred ground for your development. That's where your roots went deep. That's where your faith matured. That's where your identity was solidified, not in who you are to others, but in who you are to God. In the wilderness, you learned how to pray when nothing made sense. You learned to trust when everything was silent. You learned to worship when your heart was breaking. And because of that, you don't crumble when trials come. You rise. Your joy is not dependent on your surroundings. Your peace is not tied to your possessions. Your value is not attached to a title. You've been conditioned in obscurity to carry strength that can't be faked and endurance that can't be taught in a classroom. You are not a woman who only shines in prosperity. You shine in pressure. You don't need perfection to be powerful. In fact, your wilderness seasons have taught you how to walk with God needing to see everything clearly. You've mastered how to carry vision in the dark, and that makes you dangerous to the enemy, because even when you're overlooked by man, you are covered by God. The palace may celebrate you, but the wilderness prepared you. The crown may be seen by others, but the character was built in silence. You are not a product of comfort. You are the fruit of surrender. That's why angels are assigned to your steps. Not because of where you are, but because of what you survived to get there. You said at right conclusion with a strong message. ChatGPT said, woman of God, if you see these signs in your life, if you walk in divine purpose, attract favor without force, protect your spirit with discernment, carry peace that confuses the enemy, speak with life and authority, radiate love instead of chasing it, and thrive in the wilderness as much as in the palace, then know this: you are not ordinary. You are marked. You are chosen. You are followed by the presence of God, and heaven has assigned angels to walk with you, not because of what you have, but because of who you are becoming. The world may not always understand your path. People may question your silence, your standards, your separation, but don't let their confusion interrupt your conviction. You are not walking for attention. You are walking in assignment. You are a woman so blessed that the unseen realm pays attention when you move. Heaven responds when you speak, and hell trembles when you rise. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep building. Don't dim your light to fit in where you were never meant to stay. Don't trade your oil for fleeting approval. You were born to shift atmospheres, to birth legacy, and to lead with the kind of quiet strength that echoes through generations. You are not chasing the blessing, you are the blessing. And wherever you go, angels are already one step ahead, preparing the way, protecting the purpose, and pushing you into the fullness of your divine destiny.